Welcome to the breakdown. I'm your host, Diane Rembert, avid reader, award winning literary blogger, and the founder of Diamond's Literary World, which is my footprint in the literary industry. Today, I want to talk to you about a memoir. I, for one, happen to enjoy memoirs or biographies, if you will, because we get to learn so much more about an individual, much more than the persona that we see on television or that we hear on the radio, what social media tells us. And it's been one that I've probably for about 20 years have been so into. And today I want to talk to you about My Voice by Angie Martinez. My Voice, if you're not sure who Angie Martinez is, she is the voice of New York, literally. Um, she started out at Hot 97. She's now on Power 105.1, and she documents all of that in this book. But let me tell you, I learned so much about Miss Angie Martinez. I have a newfound respect for her, if you will. Angie talked about how she always loved hip hop. And then she literally just fell into being on the radio. She did not go to school for broadcasting or anything like that. Her mom actually worked for a radio station. I never knew that. And she would go to work with her mom. And little by little, she became an intern. And then it grew from there. And then she ended up on the radio. Power 97. I'm sorry, Hot 97. Now, what's interesting is the different time slots that Angie had. Like, she literally walked her dogs. She was saying that, when she had like an overnight shift, sometimes she would, fall asleep. There were times where, people would call in and talk to her to keep her up during those hours. One said person was Q-Tip. And from there, a relationship developed. I never knew anything about a relationship between Angie and Q-Tip. When I mentioned it to others, they were like, oh yeah. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I guess I was just doing my own thing at that time. So I didn't know. I was unaware. But one thing that Angie said that stuck out with me in her early years, and I think I could somewhat relate. Angie was saying that, some of her relationships were compromised, if you will, or problematic with the fact that she would, in doing her job, be around a bunch of men. And the person she was in a relationship with would be like, well, why, what does it look like with my woman being around all of these men? Oh my God, I could have clapped my hands for that one. I was like, I really wish I knew Angie personally, or I could, email her or text her and be like, I felt that in my gut. I felt it in my gut. Because, what we do, as far as like literary bloggers or booktubers or, people who put ourselves out there, there are times where you will find yourself in a room full of men. But, you take pride on the fact that these men look at me as someone who they respect. And it's not that type of party like I'm working. You know what I mean? And I respected her so much for putting that out there. Like, it let other people know, like, you're not the only one going through that. It is possible to be in a room full of men in sweats, or you could be dressed up to the nines and know that they are going to respect you. They're going to look out for you. They're going to make you feel comfortable, you know. And I like that. She was, you know, when she went out to LA, Tupac flew her out to LA. And, you know, she said the interview was just her and Tupac. Although he had, you know, an entourage, he made sure that she felt comfortable. And I love that. When you put yourself out there as a personality, you do develop relationships with several people. Another person that she developed a relationship with until this day is Jay-Z, from his early years. And she said, you know, her birthday, Jay would be there sitting in bottles. Like, he would always be there to encourage her. When she made her announcement from her transition, when she walked away from Hot 97 and went over to Power 105.1, you know, Jay called in. He was one of the last people to call in, and his words were moving. Like, you're not going to do this without me. You know what I mean? In the book, she also has like pictures of people who have just been there all throughout her radio journey. Fabulous, Fat Joe. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I believe his name is Pecos. Flex, Funkmaster Flex, and I could go on and on. But to just hear her talk about these people, it made me feel really, really good to be a woman. A woman. Angie is doing the darn thing. Now, if you guys don't know, right now, Angie is at home recuperating from a very serious car accident. And so I don't know if she'll ever see this video. I don't know if she'll ever read the review. But if for some strange reason she does, Angie, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for what you did. Thank you for letting me know that it is okay to be a woman on her grind, you know, amongst a sea of men, and to still come out on top. Thank you for all that you have done for radio, and I look forward to your return. Now, I learned a little more about her beef, you know, with Wendy Williams. Like, I knew a little. It's detailed in the book. It's detailed in the book. You know, what actually went down. And at one point, they were both suspended because Angie had checked that ass, if you will, about Wendy's mouth. You know, when they were on Hot 97, she had to check her about her mouth and the things that she was saying that were very disrespectful, you know, to not only her, but the person she was dating at the time, who happened to be Q-Tip, you know. So I don't want to give it all away, but just know that it's in this book. She talks about her relationship with J-Lo and Mary J. Blige, and how at one point, you know, Angie was saying she was making all this money, you know, but she wasn't paying her bills. Like, it was nothing for her lights to be cut off because she wasn't paying the bill. It was nothing for her to get an eviction notice because she wasn't paying the bill. But here she is riding around a fancy car, eating at nice restaurants, you know, just living life. But she wasn't paying her bills. And, you know, at one point she was evicted and she had part of the money. She didn't have the rest. And her friend suggested that she call Q-Tip, and who she actually called was Mary J. Blige. And Mary said, come get me from the studio. And they drove around until they found an all-night check cashing spot. And Mary gave her the $3,000 that she needed, the remainder of the money that she needed, in order to get back into her apartment. So you know that they are lifelong friends. She talked about her relationship with Adrienne Bayon. Oh my gosh, so many people. You know, I just, it took me a minute to read it because it was so much going on. But I sat down and I was determined that I was going to finish the book, and I did. Um, I loved it. I loved it. I definitely, I would give the book, I would give the book 5 stars because I believe Angie spoke her truth. She talked about um, how she felt about Puffy in the earlier days, and why she felt the way that she did, but she's mended, some of those relationships have been, mended. She talked about going and working, alongside Cory Booker when it was time to go out and, tell people about voting. And also when I didn't know this. She said she was in the van with Wyclef and Queen Latifah, and I believe Cory Booker, and they were going to the residents of Newark and telling them how they could save their homes from foreclosure. Who knew? I didn't. She talked about Summer Jam. She talked about the beef between Nas and Jay-Z. She talked about interviewing DMX, and she just, she shared a lot. She talked about when she transitioned over to Power 105.1, and how she did that first interview, on the Breakfast Club. Now, if you are a steadfast YouTuber like I am, then you know that interview is up. The Breakfast Club is one of the channels that I watch on the regular. And I absolutely love it. Some great interviews there, but I digress. And Angie's been on there a couple of times. And so she talks about finding love after having her son with someone who she barely knew. And it's not my business to share who he actually is, but she does not name him in the book, but we have later found out, who her son's father is. But she talks about finding love after having her son, and where they are, now, and how he's like one of her greatest supporters, as your partner should be. You should always be with someone who has your best interest at heart. She talks about running a marathon, and I read the story, and I'm liking or comparing it to the story that Diddy told on Oprah about when he was preparing for, a marathon. So she was, like I said, Angie just spoke her truth in this book. I absolutely loved it. My Voice, a Memoir by Angie Martinez with a foreword by J. Cole. And, it says, Angie interviews how she lives her life openly and honestly. After everything she has experienced and everyone she has spoken with, this is just the first half of her story. And that's Sean Jay-Z Carter. How amazing is that? Whenever New York has an opinion, Angie has always been the voice of reason. The voice we were waiting for to ask the right questions. That was from Pharrell Williams. So, please go get this book. In sharing it with my son, I'm now sending it to him so that he can read it as well. But I do recommend that you go pick up The Voice by Angie Martinez. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and for telling everyone what we're doing over here on The Breakdown, as well as on Diamond's Literary World. Thank you for all of your support. I appreciate you guys so much. Until next time, happy reading and be blessed.